Hello, whiskey folk. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday night vPub live, 9:45. Bit late for a lot of us, I know, but it's fantastic to see so many of you here. Over 100 waiting before the pub doors were even open tonight. It's fantastic to see so many wonderful barflies. Looks to me like the feed is a little bit patchy. I was a bit worried about this. Let's see. Let's see how we got on. You can tell me how it's looking at your side. Here, it's looking a little bit iffy. I am doing well. I hope you guys are doing well. But earlier this week, I wasn't doing so well. I managed to get myself sick. I got an infection. My wife rushed me along to our service. My wife's in medicine. She kind of, I guess, knows these things, what's to panic about and what isn't. It looks like you guys can see me okay, right? Is it blurry on your side or is it just my side? So after our service, I get diagnosed with an infection. I had to be given antibiotics to wipe me out, put me in my bed for a couple of days. I wasn't right until Tuesday morning. So I got back to work with deadlines, print deadlines and things. I was rushing and this Mac melted on me. It just stopped working and I really, really needed it. I managed to patch it up and get it together and get the jobs and tasks done that I needed to do. But I'm a little bit nervous that that's going to manifest tonight. That mixed up with a lot of other things, like I was behind in selling some cars. I was getting rid of 2 of our cars. We just don't need them anymore. And one of them's a diesel. And I was rushing so much that I filled the diesel up with petrol. Everybody's saying it's blurry. I think it could be the machine at my side, and I'm not so sure there's much I can do about that tonight. Let's see if I try to close down as much as I possibly can and try to make it run a wee bit better. Unfortunately, it means that I'm not going to be monitoring whether it's blurry or not. Menno's saying a bit unfocused at the moment. Maybe it's just me, but the picture is looking like a lot of compression artifacts. Tested the line, I tested the feed, it's strong, it's good. I think it's my machine. It could be failing. Let's see. You don't need to see me. You only need to hear. And you speak to each other. So eventually, with all the craziness that was going on with this week, finally, Wednesday night, last night, I managed to find a pocket of time that everything was kind of caught up with. And I finally relaxed a little bit and I took a dram up to bed. And I don't do that very often. And what I certainly don't do very often is finish the dram and, having enjoyed it so much, go back downstairs in my slippers and grab the bottle and take it back upstairs to bed. And I sat there reading and had another 3 drams. And this was a whiskey I've already shared with you, actually. But I was enjoying it last night, really enjoying it. And this is the Scarabus, which is a non-age statement, not a lot of information. Islay whiskey from Hunter Lane, 46% ABV. Quite a pretty bottle. I think the big selling point about this is it's quite nice, really quite nice. It's got a bit better in the open bottle, as so many of them do. But it's only 30-something pounds, sub 40 pounds, 35 pounds of that order. So it's super value as well. But there's no age statement, as I say. I'm pretty convinced this is Lagavulin. It tastes a lot like Lagavulin to me. There's a lot of people that think it's Kalila. But it's, I don't know. It just tastes a wee bit more Lagavulin to me. I guess we'll never know. If anybody out there has intel, they can let me know. But this and some other Islay whiskies that I've collected over the last few weeks has inspired the theme tonight, which of course is, are we seeing producers' ability to return to the days of age statement? I've just had a wee super chat in from my friend Vin, also about time I caught alive from the start, Kempai. Vin, thank you very much, my friend and comrade. I'm looking forward to traveling over to Texas with you in a couple of weeks' time. That's the big news on the horizon. Cheers, Vin. Thank you. Right on the back of that, Ear Whiskey, which is Matthias. He's saying, good to have you back. Sipping a Lagavulin 12 2017 Drool. I think that's a perfect one for tonight, Matthias. Thank you so much for your dram and Slantia. Matthias and I are trying to schedule a little podcast for his channel called Ear Whiskey. And we're going to be covering a subject and I think it's off air. I don't know if it goes out live. I think it's off air, and then he releases it as a kind of pre-recorded video. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to schedule that with Matthias next week, although when he puts it out is entirely up to him. Before I blether on any further, let's jump in and say hello to some of the barflies. And thank you for waiting so patiently for me. Check this feed. Yeah, it's not great. We'll just have to cope with it tonight. I apologise. James Hope is in. Fantastic, James. You're home and settled. I got to hang out with you today, and I'll talk about that in a wee bit, how that came about. I got to have some lunch today with James Hope, Kieran Hammond, and Justine from the Malt review team through in Edinburgh at the Vaults. It was a really nice little lunch to have. But it was me making up to them for letting them down last night. I want to expand on that a wee bit later. So good to see you here, James. I hope you're home and rested. Sunday Evening Scotch is in. Good to see you, my friend Jorgen Dale. I don't know if that's a new name, Jorgen. It's fantastic to have you in here. Nigel Slynn, good to see you, Nigel. The Last Drop, Chris, superb. Who's afraid of Eric Nording? That certainly looks like a new name to me. But if you are Eric Nording, I'm not afraid. I'm just very glad to have you here. Mark J. Goins is in. Good to have you, Mark. Luna Aaron is here. Patrick John, Jimmy Jazz, McAllen Fine and Rare, the Doc, superb. George Kaplan is here. Donner Pass Whiskey, Marcus Kreitner. Is Christina with you, Marcus? Spirits People is here. Nick Keane, Prestige Liquids. That's Andrew, Neil Cochran. Gixer, Skipper. That looks like a new name. He's saying, first time in the bar. Just want to say hello from the Scottish Highlands. Sipping Balvenie 12 Doublewood. Fantastic to have you, my friend. Nice to welcome you in. Ardbeg is here. Lunaran, Last Drop. Chris, I've already mentioned. Who did I miss there? That's another new name. Carl Nightsham. Sorry, Carl, I'm probably making a mess of that, but it's good to have you in, my friend, and he's coming into us from Canada. Richard Hall is here. Whiskey Jason, good to have you, Whiskey Jason, as always, from over in Germany. Dram Dude, Tom Tunard. Howdy from Las Vegas. Fantastic. Sorry, it's not Tom, it's Tim. Fantastic to have you in, Tim. Patrick John, as I've already mentioned. Tabitha Adams is here again. Good to have you. I was looking for Jay Chong. Immediately under Tabitha. Fantastic. Jay, I have a bottle waiting for you patiently with your name still on it. I know that in the coming days you're going to appear somewhere here. I'm hoping that we can sync and meet up and I can hand over your well-deserved and long-awaited bottle. Christina Zerpoli is in, and she's saying, off to clinicals now. Catch you on the replay. Can't wait to have a drink with you in Austin. It's very, very soon, Christina, and I'm looking forward to that very much. Whiskey Histories. Wow, it's moving fast tonight. 195 of you, that's why. Whiskey Histories, hello from Temecula. Thanks again for the coin. So Whiskey Histories lives very next to my friend Bill, and I mentioned to him that I had some connections with Temecula. Fantastic to welcome you in, and I'm glad that you've received your coin. There are no coins. I'm sold out of batch 2 coins. Apologies. But I want to talk about merchandise. I caught a discussion earlier in the week, specifically about merchandise, specifically about whiskey YouTube channels, and I want to touch on that. I've not noted it down, so I want to cover it. Batch 2 coins are gone. They're all sold out, but the good news is I've already placed my order for batch 3. And it would be wonderful if I could save on the shipping costs of those if they were ready in time for Austin, but I really don't know yet because these things weigh a hell of a lot. Let's see. Let's cast some of the content. Vin is telling me it's fine. He thinks it's going to buffer up. I'm not so sure. I've got a really strong internet. I think it's the machine. Saying Menno, Whiskey Wise Guy, saying Aquavitae is the Scarabus contender for Finlagan value-wise? I would say yes, absolutely. In fact, where Finlagan is always tends to lean a little bit more to the kind of drier, ashy side, in my experience, the Scarabus is a little bit kind of rounded, a little bit softer and sweeter. But it still comes across as a Lagavulin to me every time I approach it. But there's every chance it could be a Kalila. Thanks, Menno. Spirits People is saying, well, we see you at the Whisky Show in London this weekend. Not this year. I know I threatened to go down to that event, and I think it would be a fantastic thing to do, given the amount of friends and things that I'm building down in London as well, around the guys at the London Whisky Club. It would be a terrific thing to do. Just a shout out for the London Whisky Club. This week they have a tasting going on again. They're doing fantastic events down there. If you're close to London, I encourage you to hook up with those guys. Just londonwhiskeyclub@gmail.com. Get in touch with James, Jez, Mikey, Jason, all the team that's down at that club. They're putting together fantastic things. It's real whiskey enthusiasm. It's very positively charged. And get along to the events down there. It's a fantastic thing. If you can't get to London, you can still join and become a member. And what that gives you is the ability to have people on the ground in London, should you ever be passing through and want to hook up in some London whiskey haunts with any of the London crowd. I think it's great what they're doing, and I'm very, very proud to be part of its founding and a fully paying member myself. Great club. This week, they've got a chocolate tasting coming up. You can get in touch with Jez if he's in tonight, or any of the London Whisky Club crowd. So unfortunately, Spirits People, we don't get a chance to meet, my friend. Not this time. It would be a good show to go to, really. There's so many events for me. I've got to pick the events that I go to very carefully, because it's expensive to travel very much. It's a huge factor. And also commitments with the family. I have to make sure that's in order too. So let's pick up on the thing I touched on about merch recently. And it was specifically directed at the whiskey channels, the conversation. It was in a whiskey chat, I have to be honest. And one of the people mentioned that they were a bit fed up with a lot of the whiskey tube channels and their merchandising ways. That, well, everything was a merch sale, a merch sale, a merch sale. And I don't know, maybe I suffer from that, maybe I don't. But I started off with merch in reaction to requests. But I think you need to stop a minute and understand something. Merch can be a bit frustrating if it's talked about too much, I get that. But it's never ever forced on anyone. It's purely optional. You don't need to engage at all. It's not a condition of enjoying the content. And it helps the content be produced. Not only does it help raise funds, but it helps create an identity and a comradeship and things like that. But more than anything, it helps us be independent. I don't think there's any viewers out there would prefer that we were funded by the other side, by kind of industry and producers and marketing agents and things like that, who were coming to us and saying, oh, you're spending a lot on your whiskey there, here, take some of this free stuff from us instead. And can you do us a nice little write-up, or can you make a little video or something like that? I think that if we were funded in that way, which to my knowledge, none of us are on YouTube, or none of the people that I collaborate with anyway, we are all funded by you guys fully. I have never ever taken a paid job. And that affords us a very nice position. We can keep our integrity, our honesty. And if all that you have to suffer is occasionally an option to sponsor or buy a t-shirt or a glass or whatever it might be, or a coin, somebody's shouting at me, Chad Adams, you absolutely don't. I'll follow your chat there, Chad, but I think hopefully you're agreeing with me, my friend. Yes, the merch thing is always going to be optional, and I hope that you all appreciate that. Jez is saying 9th of October 2019 chocolate and whiskey pairing. Sorry, it's the 9th of October. Thanks for that, Jez. So if you're interested in anything that the London Whisky Club are getting up to, please get in touch with those guys, even if you don't live in London, like me. George Braley is saying Aquavitae merchandise helps us associate with fellow followers. Yes, it's that sense of community that I was talking about. And it doesn't need to all be the same channel. It can just be the fact that lots of the same community skip and watch all the different channels and live streams as well. Absolutely agree, George, and it's great to have you in, my friend. Zach Andrews is saying, Aquavitae, I love the merch. It's a way to actively participate and help the channels. Exactly, Zach, thank you very much. It's something that I reacted to, people asking me for. George Braley and said, and you have some cool stuff. Thank you, George. I don't think I have enough. And Chad Adams is shouting again, and he's saying, agreement. Thank you, Chad. Mark is saying, love the merchandise, keep it coming. Merch keeps the tap running, says Daniel Vermaas. Iladdy is saying, I like to support Aquavitae by buying his coins. Thank you, you do indeed, Rombout. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you. And Simon Ray is saying, merch is a great way to show support for a channel. The reason I connected with Scott and Bart, the Scotch Test Dummies, way back in 2017, I guess, I think, was just by buying their coins. That's what sparked the communication and me realizing that these guys weren't producing a product and putting it out there and there's an isolative barrier that goes up. They are actively communicating with their community and they're great at it. I loved that. And I knew that that's the type of thing that I wanted to be a part of. Spirits People, you star. I keep forgetting your name. I really do. I'm getting better at not forgetting names, but it still happens. So I apologize, my friend, but I know you've got your own podcast style content going out there as well. And he's bought me a virtual dram saying, I'm sure we'll meet another event eventually. Here's for a dram, my friend. Thank you very, very much for your generous dram. Thank you. I like merch. You see me wearing merch here on these live streams. I have the majority of the other channels' coins here, and I use them as glass toppers and things. I like them as fidgets. I like to have them in my hand. This is one of my batch 1 coins here. And, you know, I tend to try and carry different wee coins with me. I think these coins are great little things. It's Johnny. Johnny, I apologise. Thank you so much, my friend, and thanks for clarifying. Gregor is saying, with all the whiskey coins I have, the wife thinks I've been popping off to Vegas without telling her. Yeah, I had problems getting out of the States last time when I was carrying so many of my own coins. They thought it was casino chips. They thought it was currency. Sandy Even Scotch is saying, you should be forgiven for forgetting names here and there. I'm super impressed with how good you are generally in matching real names to whiskey names. I do try, and I'm going to try not to forget Johnny's name again. But when I do make mistakes, it's a wee bit frustrating. But it's the kind of alias thing. McCann Fine and Rarely Doc is saying, as long as merch is high quality and suitable quantity, it is fine for me. That's why I've been so late on the T-shirts, trying to find a T-shirt that I liked. And find a T-shirt that was good quality all the way through the sizes, right up into 3XL, and perhaps if I can get it 4XL. I've found a T-shirt that does that, but in the 3XL and 4XL, black is the only available colour. So the colours that I wanted, the blues and the greys, are available for all the sizes, but for the large ones, I think we're going to have to go with black. But thanks, Doc. Thanks for the input. So I hope most of you agree with that and understand that we're not just kind of out there to just create videos in order to, as a platform to sell merch. I mean, I'm sure that if anybody would realize that that's a pretty poor business model, the content has to be the priority. And while the content goes out on YouTube, the majority it should be available to all and free. I do things for patrons from time to time, of course. But the focus of my channel is what you guys enjoy every other week on the live streams and the occasional pre-recorded content that I put out there as well. The Whiskey Bowman, Chris is saying, I got some strange looks at the High Court this week, going through security with your coin. No, I wasn't on trial. No problem, Chris. Good to have you here. Spiritworks Tom is saying, and I'm sure the wait for the T-shirts will be worthwhile. Would you like to see the design for the T-shirts? I know I gave you a wee sneak peek a while ago, but I've got them here on my desktop if you want to have a wee look. I modified the recycle T-shirt a bit. I didn't like the asymmetry of it. I'm a bit like that. I'm a little bit uptight about things. And after the feedback, thanks to everybody who filled out the t-shirt questionnaire, saying it helped me get the size mix a bit better, hopefully this time. It helped me understand what you guys actually wanted from t-shirts as well. And it seemed that so many of you wanted a Barfly t-shirt too. So that is available. Let's see if I can do a screen share. I'll just show you the design, the two t-shirts. Share screen. This is going to be tricky if this machine isn't working so well tonight. Could be tricky. Let's try. After talking about how it's not all about the merch. So you can see that the recycle, I can show you a bigger size of that recycled t-shirt, that logo that's there. And there's still time to modify it ever so slightly. The artwork is done, but it could be modified a wee bit. So you can see the recycled bin is there with the basket of bottles, as in that appears in the videos, all ready to go into the recycling. And it doesn't say anything. It doesn't talk about aquavita or anything. So it's definitely a community-focused t-shirt. The people that see it would know what it is, and people that don't know what it is, it's just be lost on them. It's one certainly for the community. As is this one. This is a Barfly t-shirt. All it's got is it's a little roundel, and it's got some talk about what the vPub actually is around the outside, and it's got the Barfly holding up its tilted Glencairn in the center, and it just says #Barfly there. That's what we have. So you can let me know what you think of those. Oh, I did want to show you the recycled logo so you can see it a bit clearer. Let's try that. Hope this isn't too dull. I will get into my subject matter very soon. So there you can see it there. You can see the backdrop is fouling it a wee bit. This is the background, but this black-backed recycle bin you can see here with the basket. I wasn't sure whether to put this hashtag underneath. Didn't know if it needed it, but maybe take some feedback from you guys on that. You can let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Let's have a wee look. Okay, Whisky Weekend, great shirt. Okay, nice design, love it, fantastic. Don't need the red of YouTube, in my humble opinion. Interesting. And that's Gregor. If that's from you, it's something I'm going to listen to. Gregor is a designer in his own right. Simon Ray's saying love them both. Daniel Vermaas, Aquavita logo could be a little bigger. Otherwise, the bottles do not fit. Logo can be a little bigger. Zach Andrews is saying that's great. Two for a tenner, says George. Donner Pass Whiskey is saying sweet. Those are great. Good t-shirt. Barfly t-shirt is really nice. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't please everyone, but it's nice if you get kind of general positive feedback. And then what I need to do is get back together, get on and have the online store ready for the t-shirts, for the glasses, for the coins, and all my merch hooring ways. Rico Danette is saying, looks awesome. Fantastic to have you in again, Rico. Wonderful. So as I'm sitting there with my Scarabus, really, really enjoying it last night, I was struck again by how the first time I opened this, I thought it was a decent whiskey and a decent stab. The finish wasn't completely doing it for me from my memory. But last night, as I was enjoying this, I realized, I don't care that it doesn't have an age statement. This is just a nice, inexpensive Islay and all the things that Islay has come to mean. There was a really interesting point made, I think it was on the Scarabus review on maltreview.com, talking about how Islay itself has become this huge brand in itself. Islay is suffering from its own success a little bit in terms of demand on resources there, accommodation, the narrow roads and everything. But the distilleries and the whiskey side is booming, and Islay has become a huge thing. And I understand and I get all of that. So it's harder for them, I think, to produce good quality whiskey that's affordable and widely available to everyone. So I think Hunter Lane have done a decent job there. I don't really know what's in this bottle. It's maybe teaspooned. It would have been nice if they gave us a bit more information. on age, on the content, maybe give us a little bit of a clue about the distillery or something. But this is happening more and more, this kind of thing. And I guess that what they've tried to do here is make something, make a brand, make it marketable. But Hunterling, as soon as you make something branded, you have to bring a level of consistency. And I think that's going to be your challenge here. And there isn't any batch information on this. It's definitely a single malt, it's not a blended malt. So I guess that's going to be the challenge for them. But it's nice that it's in the 30s. It's nice that it's reasonably affordable. Dornpass Whiskey saying, Aguaviti, have you met up with Phil and Deepa yet? Yes, Phil and Deepa, that's from the Captain 3D Whiskey channel. Can I just put a plug out there for Phil and Deepa right now? Because if you're interested in the stuff that's available in Scottish whiskey shops right now, you need to go and watch Phil and Deepa's channel, because they're taking cameras into pretty much every whiskey shop that they can find on their journey here while they're in Scotland. I think they finally went home on Sunday. They've finally gone home. A week ago tonight, last Thursday, I got to hang out with them, and I took them along to a Kilkerran tasting that I attended. And we had some dinner, and then we hung out in the Bon Accord for a little bit afterwards and relaxed with a dram or two. They were wonderful company. They come across as very endearing through their videos, but hanging out with Phil and Deepa was an absolute pleasure. If you want to see what's in Scottish whiskey shops right now, all over Scotland, and at what price, subscribe to Phil and Deepa's channels, because as well as all the other fantastic content that they're doing, the whiskey shopping, the blind challenges, the blind tasted and things like that, they've done a hell of a lot of that over their trip here in Scotland and try to vicariously bring some content to the community. Let's see if I try and keep up with Vin, who's riding shotgun for me tonight. I've not seen if Jason Whiskey Wise, my friend Jason, is in tonight, but Vin pitched in and said, look, he's going to be able to help and try and support tonight, especially if it's as busy as it is. Vin says, no, I'm doing an okay job of catching the comments so far. Whiskey Geek is saying, I see an interesting 20C Caden heads on the shelf behind you. A gift from Phil and Deepa by chance. They've not gone home yet. I had a chance to meet up with them earlier this week. Perhaps they've extended their stay. And great spot over my shoulder here, that 20C Caden heads bottle, Springbank. That's exactly a gift from them. Good spot, Ben. And it's terrific that you guys have managed to meet up as well. Tremendous. See if I've missed any other. Yes, I thought I did. I saw a little green flash go by. Ebhead, Rolf. Great design, Roy. Do you have any of them in pear shape? Absolutely. All shapes and sizes will be accommodated. Still suffering from the holiday belly, are we, Rolf? Cheers, my friend. Wonderful to have you in. And thanks so much for your generous virtual dram. Really looking forward to seeing you in November. And it looks like I've also got a generous dram from my friend Per. He's saying, look forward to have both t-shirts. You're very welcome to Per. And wonderful to support with a wee virtual dram as well. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you in, my friend. A fellow drone enthusiast, Per. This is very easy to drink. This is very... Okay, to describe it as soft, because it is full on Islay, is wrong, but there's softness there. There's roundness. The mouthfeel is quite nice. It's fairly viscous for what could be, certainly single-digit ages, whether it be non-age statement, you would imagine. But what often happens is that something like this goes out there with, like I say, it's teaspooned. It's got a very small amount of something very young or different in there. Teaspooned tends to not be consistent with single malt, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious why they didn't put an age statement on there. But right on the back of this Scarabus is another interesting release. This is it's called it's I have to say I love the packaging for very, very different reasons from this. This is very kind of luxurious looking and quite whimsical, and you know, it's kind of got a nice, you know, a nice look and feel to it. The black glass is quite cool too. Whereas this looks like they couldn't have cared less, and they just slapped on what they needed to slap. They've made it balanced and legible and clear, but it's really reminiscent of bottles from the 60s, 70s, and perhaps the 80s. And I quite like that about it. And all of the messaging on it is a wee bit tongue-in-cheek as well. So this is called Aldehide Lindsay, aged 10 years. It says single malt Scotch whisky, Islay, 46%. And it said, make the Islay pilgrimage, chase the legends, believe what you will. Now, let me tell you what it says on the back, because I quite like this. It says, single malt Scotch whisky. This is the part where we are meant to entice you, dear drinker, with the tales of this magical island of Islay. And all its splendid isolation. It's difficult to read that bit. There's a graphic behind it, a fingerprint graphic. The Islay pilgrimage of any discerning whiskey drinker is paved with provenance, heritage, and of course, peat smoke breathing dragons. But you know that already, it says in brackets. We've chosen to focus on what matters most, the contents of your glass. A great story, and of course, the fairy timetable. This is Aldehide Lindsay. So you can see this is all kind of not taking everything too seriously, kind of pulling back a wee bit on that kind of just slapping Islay on something and suddenly, oh, it's an Islay. No, it has to be good whiskey. So I kind of applaud them for that, but you can't take away from the fact that Islay is an absolutely magical place. This is presented at 46%. It doesn't talk about chill filtration, and it doesn't talk about colour, but it's super pale. As you can see, that's very pale. But who knows, they may have added a wee dot. We're not sure. This is from Atom Brands, who are boutique whiskey, Master Malt, Drinks by the Dram, the same group of companies. What's interesting, and actually one of the reasons that I got onto the theme for tonight, is that there is a big age statement on here, 10 years old. And it's about 40-ish pounds. Not expensive. So I think what I'm going to do is, and by the way, I'm going to share these drams with you tonight. I'm going to pour a couple of samples of each of these and figure out a way to share these so that you can try these. I mean, a lot of these are mass market. The whiskies I'm sharing tonight will be, and I've specifically selected them because they will be mass market available. They're not specials, they're not limited editions. You can get them outside of the UK too. But still, if anybody wants to try these, not bad. A very small cork, not a bad pop. I'm going to find a way to pour a couple of samples. Let it breathe for a second. Wow, I poured a pretty generous one for tonight. Got some sample bottles at the ready. And I can make a quick note of who I'll be shipping them out to, and I can fill them a wee bit later. Ardbeg is saying they sent me a bottle also. Yeah, I have no idea who this came from. I have no idea. I had my eye on it. I was looking at it, and I thought, you know, that's not bad. And the thing that drew me was the 10-year age statement. And there are very few Islay distilleries that have bulk product available to do projects such as Scarabus, Aldehide Lindsay, Port Askaig, or Finlagan, any of those things. So you tend to find they're going to be from maybe occasionally Laphroaig, occasionally Bamore, but more likely they're going to be from Bunnahabhain, and especially Killala. That's going to be the ones that it comes from. So it helps you kind of, when you're tasting it and it says single malt on there, you can play that little game of which distillery is it. And I'm going to try that just now with this Aldehide Lindsay. I have no intel on it. I have no idea. There was no compliment slip. There was no business card inside. There was nothing. And there are only 2 producers out there that have my address. So yeah, it just appeared. But much like the Scarabus, if I enjoy this, if you look behind here, here's another bottle of Scarabus. I've gone out and bought one of these for myself. Because it's good value and it's available. widely available. It's not one of these releases like the recent Springbank rum cask, like a Daft Mill or something, or any kind of the limited releases that we're all kind of scrapping over a wee bit, that we're all kind of fighting over. And there's this huge freeze on, this buzz of, oh, it's coming out, it's coming out. Did you get one? Did you get one? Did you get one? Honestly, let's just. I love what the London Whisky Club's doing again. They're buying bottles and sharing them, so that they don't have that fight to get everyone to get the same bottle, only for it to sit, because it's impossible for any one person to drink the sheer amount of releases that's coming out right now. The Whiskey Bowman is saying, afraid I will need to catch the rest on replay, Nightroy and all. P.S. BB, good for you. Left your quiz answers in there, Chris. And sorry you can't hang out with us anymore tonight, but it's nice to have had you in for as long as we did. The quiz, there will be a quiz at the end tonight, of course. Multiple choice, as Chris has just hinted at as well. An A, B, or C. Okay, fantastic. So usually, like the Scarabus when I tried it a few weeks back, these things are a bit tight. The neck pour is always a little bit tight, in my experience. This is drier and a bit more briny and fresh on the nose than the Scarabus. Scarabus has got a kind of honeyed sweetness to it, where the Scarabus is a wee bit leathery too. This has kind of got some almost green notes, grassy. Sweeter. This tastes a lot like, imagine Kalila 12 with a wee bit of pepper. It's quite elegant. It's quite light. Sits not bad. There's no sickly bitterness. It's not Ardbeg 10, similar age product, similar style of whiskey. This is tame. This is much more elegant. Ardbeg is ashen and dry and zesty. I'm going to put a wee bit of water in it after a bit. See if I can bring out any fruit. I'm not going to like a lot of fruit right now. Kim Bryant said, Aquavite, sipping on the last of my Deanston 10-year-old Bordeaux cask. Really enjoyed it and has tempted me to try more of the Deanston range. I think it's a relatively safe prospect, especially for me, the teenage and younger stuff, 10-year, 12-year, 14, 15, 16, even the 18-year now. All of it is pretty much buy without trying, I would say. And there's not many distilleries I feel that way about, but I do feel that way about Deanston. And long may it continue. Ardbeg is saying, I thought it was Kalila. I think it's probably Kalila. As I say, I don't have any intel on this. Honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know where it's from. There was nothing arrived through the door. The reason it's here in the lineup tonight is for no other reason than that age statement that's on there, and I think it's a nice lead up to the Laphroaig and the Ardbeg, which I've teased on previous live streams. Laphroaig's and Ardbeg's new releases with a wee bit of excitement around them. But the big deal for me is the theme tonight. They are carrying age statements. So I wanted to pose the question to you guys. Could it be that in the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, the late 2000s, into the early teens, the last 5 years, the producers have been becoming more and more confident, just as more and more new distilleries are opening up, and they're increasing capacity little by little, and in some cases in recent years doubling up on capacity. In the case of distillers like Ardbeg, doubling capacity literally. Could it be that they've been making enough to lay down enough mature stock? Could it be that they've got enough mature stock sitting there so we can start to see less concocted, twisted tales with no age on there? And I don't want to beat up the whole concept of non-age statement. There is a place for it. And, whiskey, for as long as it's existed, it has had non-age statement product. But we've got quite comfortable knowing the age, and we've got to enjoy whiskey by the age that it is. And I think it's important sometimes to try and gauge the investment on a producer's part. And while the Scotch Whisky Association regulations don't let them do that fully right now, as in it's not possible for them to do some make-up list of what ages or what casks are going in to make this up on the label. They can't do that. If they're going to put an age statement on, it has to be the youngest component that's in there. I think that's a wee bit claustrophobic and restrictive. Nevertheless, I think it's going to be a part of our landscape going forward for a long time, non-age statement, just as it has been in the past. But it's nice when you have, like I say, that measure of investment on their part, and also it gives you a better idea how to place the whiskey even before you've tried it. If it's something you're considering buying, it helps you place the value. Please don't judge whiskey by its age. I recently tried a 4-year-old Ben Nevis released by Ralphie to commemorate his 10 years. That was delicious whiskey. Lots of engagement. Just a heavily peated Ben Nevis as well. Very, very different. More news on that on an upcoming live stream. But it was at 4 years old, released by the Good Spirits Company, and they put 4 years old on the label. Quite happy to sell it because they know their audience, they know their market, they know its enthusiasts, and they know that we like to understand more about what we're drinking. Whiskey Histories is saying, I'd like to think the success of noise statement and the acceptance of noise statement is legitimately great stuff. Frees up older stock to be bottled more often in age statements. That's absolutely true, because in order for a producer to lay down stock to mature, to give us a more mature age-stated product later, they have to keep the business going, so they're going to have to also use the younger stock. But my counter to that is there has to be a way for them to, it doesn't need to be a big confident single digit. I would prefer that it is for me, but the mass market out there maybe aren't ready for that. But it would be nice if there was a way, even put a QR code that we can scan on the back, or even put a little link on the back, or find some way to share with us a bit more in depth about what the whiskey is. You can engage with it much more when that's the case, I think, but I know I'm being a wee bit picky, perhaps. Do you think? George is saying, I believe it's all in the taste as long as it's traceable. That's what I'm talking about, a bit of insight. Eric is saying, Eric Waite is in, good to have you. And Eric is saying, I like the Ardbeg noise statement, but the Ardbeg 19 is really phenomenal, though too expensive. There are people in the States right now trading upwards of $300 plus for this. It's just out. You can buy it at the distillery for £169. And okay, I appreciate that it's going to cost you a lot more than $300 to get to the distillery to buy it. And I understand why it's trading at that, because people are remote and there are Ardbeg fans and they want to get their hands on it. But have a rest, sit down, have a little cup of tea, think about it for a second. It's $300. The whiskey will come to you. You will get it. I'm actually thinking, I'm wondering if this 90-year-old Ardbeg can be worth the $169 I paid for it. You know that I backtracked. I said I wasn't going to buy this because of the price, and then I did. And I'll talk to you a bit more about that later when I try it. Neil Cochrane's saying, young age statements. Sorry, I missed Luna Aaron's comment. Good to see you. And Luna, can companies just put the info, what they put in their blends, homepages like Compass Box? Exactly. Why not? Why not? And I understand that the business model for everybody is different, but we would love that. Young age statements are great. Too many whiskey snobs are not prepared to try. Absolutely. Just forget about the age. All it does is give you a context, really. Don't judge the whiskey that it's young. Don't think, oh, that's only a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old. Look at this Tormore. This is a Tormore Now, I don't know how much this was sold in the UK, this expression. This is an Italian bottling. This bottle was called the hand grenade because of the glass on it. I don't know if you can see that. You can see why it's reminiscent of a hand grenade. Bit ominous. But this is a 40%, 0.75 CL. So this is an Italian. So this would have been pre 1992. So I think this is late 80s, this bottle. There's a barcode on it which would normally place it in the later 80s. But a big, bold 5 years old on there. Nothing wrong with that. Now, it would have been for the Italian market. They're very comfortable with their Glen Grant 5-year-old, for example. And I have to say, this is really soft and very light, but there's a bit of fruit in here, and I quite enjoy this. And there's also that kind of old bottle effect going on, although it's not been in glass that long, maybe, potentially 30 years. But there is a bit of it going on. And this was bought at auction by my cousin Kevin, and he left it here for me. And yeah, he's left me something that's quite intriguing. But again, a big, bold 5-year statement on there that I enjoy. It's nice to be open about these things. I reckon the age statements, George was saying, it will really be marketed by distilleries as high-end priced output. Yeah, there was a time that 8 years was considered old, 12 years, and then beyond. I have a 6-year-old Kalila finished in PX cask, and it is absolute joy to drink. Exactly my point. Kim Bryant was saying, I start the year buying age statements. I want to try then the whiskey budget depletes. And if my wife finds out, I end up buying NAS towards the end of the year. Whiskey fits around your lifestyle, Kevin. Perfect. McAllen Rare is saying, Aguaviri, there are good reasons not to disclose what the content of a bottle is. Cost, flexibility, preconceptions, etc. Fine. But give the drinker the option there, Doc. I mean, give them the choice. You can do anything you want here. And if they're so driven, if they want to find out more, smaller text or a link, just an HTML link on the back, a QR code or something. That if they're the curious type, or if they're the type that they want to know a bit more. You know what I'm like about blind tasting and trying without preconceptions. I'm all for that. But I think it's too easy to dress things up. And there's lots of shenanigans that goes on in industries in general, and the Scotch whisky industry isn't really exempt from that. Love seeing the confidence to put that 5 on there. I don't mind a young age at all. My whiskey of the year, says Sunday Evening Scotch, so far is an 8-year-old Glenallachie from Five Lions, second Phil Oloroso. Fantastic. Tried, Spirits People, Johnny saying, I tried a 24-year Tormore blind today and thought it was less than 8 years old. Wow. I have at least one fan who is a huge supporter of Tormore. I haven't been bitten by the Tormore bug yet, but I remain open-minded. Oh, jump. Jimmy Legg is in. Good to have you in, Jimmy. Jimmy, I owe you something. I'm going to go back and I'm going to. Jimmy Legg has been benching all my videos and old live streams. He's been doing the old quizzes. He's been going back and doing old quizzes as well. And it's been fantastic because you'll get these notifications that pop in from time to time that you've had. I've just had a moth fly in to join me. I hope he finds someplace to settle and not pester me too much. And he's been leaving these little comments and things, and it's nice to have these comments coming in and seeing that there are people out there watching some of the old stuff. So I appreciate you watching, Jimmy. Thank you so much for your support and constant feedback. I enjoy it very, very much. Donald Rance has made a great point. Took the words right out of my mouth, Donald, saying follow the Bruichladdich model. The traceability that Bruichladdich put behind its products is pretty damn deep. I'm sure that there's a lot of administrative work and effort goes into that for them. And it's not on the label. They don't kind of shout about it. It's only if you want to seek it out. It's only for the curious, the enthusiasts, the whiskey geeks, perhaps. And I think that Bruichladdich should be applauded for the effort that they put in there. Aaron McFault is saying, I have a 4-year-old Booner cask strength peat bomb last week. Really good, endless finish. Yeah, this idea that it needs to be a long time in the cask in order to make a good whiskey or give it a long finish is nonsense. In fact, there's an argument that it shows a lot of confidence in a producer in their young product, in their new make spirit, and the distillate itself, and what they are actually responsible for making. If they are able to put it out there with a young age statement on it and proudly talk about why it's good at that age. Fantastic. Whiskey Scout is saying, good to have you in. Scout, it's been a long time since I've seen you, I think, but it's great to have you saying, I'm having a Douglas McGibbon & Co. Clondalkin, Craigellachie, 2008 10-year. It is very enjoyable. Fantastic Whiskey Scout. Craigellachie is pretty tough to get a hold of. Again, one of the distilleries. It's got an official core range as well. It's getting a bit pricey, especially the higher age statement stuff. But good to see that you're enjoying that. Perhaps you already mentioned this. Do you think the return of age statements is due to supply of aged casks is starting to catch up with demand? No. That has to be a factor. It has to be there. I think the reason that we are seeing age statements suddenly coming out is for a couple of reasons. People are asking for it. And any demand for something, any interest in something is always led by a jagged edge, a pointy edge. And it tends to be the people who are really, I'm not saying that they can see forward or they're visionary, I'm saying they tend to be kind of geeky, real impassioned people, enthusiastic about things, and they learn everything about it. And when they find something that's good, they share it. And I'm talking about anything. I'm talking about technology. I'm talking about any kind of brand, any kind of product, any kind of consumable, any kind of food stuffs or food style and drinks and beverages, no different. And that jagged edge leaves a wake behind it. And that wake represents a growing building interest and a growing building market. And we've been shouting and asking for long enough. Before I knew even what whiskey could do or what it was, there were people shouting. Grassroots communities building up around shops like Cadenheads and things, asking for non-chill filtration, asking for age statement, asking for information, asking them not to use colour, asking it to be bottled at a decent strength. And I think that what happens is that the producers, some of them, are realizing that not only is it okay to do that and point it to a more informed, knowledgeable market, and that isn't the answer to everything, they can earn a wee bit more money out of it. It's always about money. Everything comes down to money. It's frustrating, but it's fact. Everything comes down to money. This is a good price. Or let's say this isn't a bad price. Let's use this Laphroaig as an example. An exclusive from Amazon, really interesting concept. In the UK and Europe, it's only exclusively available through Amazon. And this is £89 for a 16-year-old Laphroaig. What's wonderful about this Laphroaig is that it's bottled at 48%. Now, £89, like I say, it's not bad, but you can get, albeit 43% Lagavulin 16, for about 30 quid cheaper than that. So it is quite a bit more expensive, but I guarantee you that is going to sell, and it's going to sell a lot. So yes, it's about money. And it's probably a point that's going to be made even more glaringly obvious when I approach the Ardbeg over my shoulder as well. But let's try this 10-year-old Aldehide Lindsay one more time. It's still a wee bit tight. It's not really fully opening up. It's not as... The nose on the Scarabus was quite fragrant, but that Scarabus has been open a couple of months now. I'm just putting a wee drop of water in it just to see if I can get any. Use a coin. See if we can get any fruit or floral notes or anything else out of there. More kind of the salty brine. Bit of maybe a kind of waxy lemon peel at best. Light lemon. That's about as much as it's going to give up right now. It's been 10 minutes in the glass now at least. That's nice. I'm going to enjoy this. It's clean, It's clean. Oh, a bit minerally, a bit beach stones, pebbles. Very light. Citrus, very light. Yeah, I think it could open up to be a wee bit better. I really do. Again, the price, £40. They're putting an age statement on there. They're having a bit of fun with the branding. We don't know where it's from, but as we've already guessed, probably Colila. James McGoran is in, as well as Greg's Whiskey Guide. Fantastic. Bjorn Torrey Rekvi Syme is in. Fantastic, Bjorn. Good to have you. Ben from Whiskey Geek, I've already mentioned. It's always good to have Ben. And I'm going to crack on with this Laphroaig because I'm close to burning an hour with you already. And I've only uncorked one. So, okay, let's give away 2 samples of the Aldehide Lindsay. Let's ask a wee question. Bimber Distillery in London, and I'll get the chat up, has just released its inaugural bottling a couple of weeks ago. What kind of casks was it matured in? First person to tell me gets a sample of the Aldehide Lindsay. I'm watching the chat. There we go. Got a pen at the ready. Ear Whiskey, Matthias and Connor Strang, and Triquetra UK was third. So we've got Ear Whiskey, Matthias, Connor Strang. Connor, it's fantastic to have you in, my friend. And I'm going to take a third name, which was Triquetra. It's Stuart. I've just sent a package to Matthias. Could have had this going in it. Could have saved me some postage there. But no worries. Oh, nice noise. I'm pouring big enough drams so I can try these side by side a wee bit later. So this is going to be widely distributed. It's going to end up in the States and things like that as well. I kind of feel like a salesman. I'm not being a salesman. I'm only talking to you, the interested whiskey folk. Like I say, it's an Amazon exclusive. I paid 89 quid for this. I bought it. I didn't pay delivery because I've got a Prime account, so it just cost me just the flat 89. I guess if you don't have Prime, you'd need to factor in a delivery charge. I'm not sure how much that would be. But in the States and the US, it's different. They're not going to be able to distribute it through Amazon, of course. And what they're going to be doing there, I'm not sure, but I understand that it will make its way to other markets and North America soon too. Just sticking my nose in there, what far too early, what jumps out of that bottle, honestly speaking, and you can do this at home yourself, is maturity, is age. Peat smoke is dialed right back. It's, compared to the other two, it's almost taken a back seat. And the fruit is here. It's ripe. Ripe banana. I'm looking for that iodine kind of Laphroaig DNA there, the kind of medicinal side. And it's there, but at this stage, neck pour, tight pour, just out the bottle, it's choked back a wee bit. Super encouraging to start with. Spiritworks Thomas saying, Roy, I'm annoyed I claimed Oloroso in the heat of the moment. I should know better as I have a bottle of it here. Don't worry, Tom. Don't worry, Tom. That's what happens. When you knew it was a sherry cask at least. Again, I think they've put that out there at 3 years. I don't have any of it. I'm not sure what it says on the bottle. It probably says that it's 3 years old. And being Bimber, they're in a completely different end of the marketplace from most of the producers that we're talking about tonight. So they can be a wee bit maverick and say things that they want. They're not under SWA regulation either. So they could probably use that to their advantage, perhaps, and share it with us. I think this might be a nice whiskey. On the nose, this is appealing. This is making me want to sip it, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to leave it in the glass for a wee bit longer. It's also nice that they're presenting it at 48% as well. Most Laphroaigs in the UK, like the Laphroaig 10 is frustrating at 40%, but they do higher ABVs. The triple wood, I think, was 48, for example. The quarter cask's 48. So they do these higher ABVs, and I think they should be encouraged to do more. Laphroaig. So I was able to meet with James Hope and Kieran and Justine at Scotch Whisky Society Vaults today. But I need to put a huge apology out there because, as I mentioned at the start of the head of this live stream, it's been an absolutely crazy upside down week. The cousin I mentioned gave me that bottle of Turmore 5-year-old there. He's bought one of my cars. He's bought a diesel car from me, and I was getting it ready for him. And the night before, I filled it with petrol. It's just like, I've never done that in my life, but I managed to do it. That's how kind of crazy and rushing around and distracted I've been. And what happened is that by the time I got to Wednesday night last night this week, when we found that pocket of calm and peace, I just decided to lock the door, have an early bed, get into comfortable clothes and pour that dram that I talked about earlier, and forgot completely that 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, I don't even remember, I had bought a ticket to go to a huge, exciting tasting in Edinburgh, hosted by Whisky Rover, Jason, and Justine from the Cask Whisky and the Fife Whisky Trail. Really disappointed. I think I let some people down, some friends and things, some people that I know that I haven't met in the flesh yet would have been there, and I apologise to everyone. I got in touch first thing this morning as soon as I remembered. I had huge guilt, and I managed to take some time off today and get through to Edinburgh and hook up with James and Kieran and Justine. And Jason tried to join us, but it's a work day for everyone, isn't it? So he couldn't get away, just to try and make it up to them a little bit. But it's a shame because it would have been a fantastic, fantastic tasting. They did try a couple of Islas in there. Scarabus was in the lineup. The Kalila 22 Fischel was in the lineup, as well as the Lagavulin Fischel. When Whisky Rover and Justine put tastings together, they don't mess about. I don't know how you would get wind of those tastings. Maybe go to Justine's website, which is caskwhisky.com, cask with a K, very important, K-A-S-K, caskwhisky.com. I think it's caskwhisky.com. Just do a Google search for Cask Whisky, I guess, or Justine is Cask Whisky on Twitter. She has a mailing list. But those would be tastings. There was a gorgeous looking cast strength Klein Leash in there as well. I was excited to try that. So I apologise. Mark Slinger has hit the nail right on the head, Roy. It's an age thing. I thought you were supposed to carry, a bit more flair, a bit more togetherness, a bit more wisdom as you aged, Mark. But you're absolutely right. An age thing and spinning far too many plates. Everyone's saying, aren't the full nozzles different? To pretend that from happening. Yeah, they have different widths. You can't put diesel in a petrol car. It's not possible. But it's very easy to put petrol in a diesel car, as I proved last night. Never done it. Ephead is saying, how did that 22-year-old Kalila do? It went down very well at the tasting last night. Still not a home run for me. I think I have to be in the right mood. And that Kalila is hugely affected by the company that you taste it in. I think it switches and flickers and jumps around a little bit for me. Yeah, I think it's good whiskey, but I think half the people that try it love it, and half the people are like, "Oh, that's different," and they're not very encouraging. I'm going to put a wee drop of water in it, let it sit for a bit, and go back with a wee splash. See what we think. As a pull out, the one that all the hoo-ha was about, the Tray Van from Ardbeg. Tray Van was a beach or something, I think. Per has just sent another super chat across, another dram, and he's given me one of his wee emojis. Thank you, Per. Thank you so much, my friend. Slajava. I got a problem? Did I drop out? Ah, Vin is saying it's crashed. Am I back with you? So I need some help then. At what point did this cut out tonight? Nice, you're back again. That's why Pear's little emoji had... So Per, in case you didn't hear me, if I was offline when it happened, thank you for your virtual dram. And the little emoji that he had was a game over one. Wow. I think I've lost quite a lot of you. Never Say Die video is now back. It was down for a minute, said Eric, wait as he buys me a celebratory dram. I have no idea what's going on. I really don't know what's going on, but I've lost a lot of you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much, my friend. I'm going to give it a minute for things to settle and come back. I really don't know what's going on. Something else happened this week amongst all the craziness. There's another crazy thing that's happening now. But our water went off as well. We had a water main burst in a nearby borough, and it cut off our water down here as well. So we ended up without water too. But I seem to have a problem with either data or perhaps this machine. Jimmy Like said, only 2 to 3 minutes, Aquavite. Yes, you're with us. It dropped at 22.51, about 22.51. Daniel, Roy's unstoppable. Whiskey Novice is saying, I've been here since Tuesday. Okay, I don't know what part I got to, but let's go back to the part where I reached for the Ardbeg, okay? This is interesting always. I reached for the Ardbeg and I talked about how this is the one that all the hoo-ha was about. There was a bit of a flurry of excitement for this, and it sold out in most places. I think you can still get it at the distillery. But at the time I said, I'm not going to participate, I won't bother. But Phil and Deepa was Nyla. He sent me a message and said, hey, you know what? There's Trey Van still at the distillery. What do you think? And I didn't respond straight away. And then immediately I said, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's invest in a bottle. Let's buy it. Let's put it alongside its peers. Let's see if it's worth... I mean, to an Ardbeg fan, it's going to be worth it. They're going to pay it. But I think that that's my point about this whole subject tonight, that these age statements are coming back because they know that they can put 19 years on this. Excellent information on it. And they can charge £169 for it. So it's pretty lucrative, right? And if it's what consumers are demanding, then they're hoping that those same consumers will buy the product when it's made available. So here's bottle 3 of 3 getting uncorked tonight. So while I'm uncorking this, I'm going to ask a question for the Laphroaig 16 samples. And I'll do the same here as well. I'll send out a few samples, 2 or 3 to anybody who's interested. Just making sure that some people are coming back in now. Simon Ray saying, is this your take on a BBC series, The Capture? You fake the feed so you can drink the bottle unseen. I don't know. Don't know what that is. It sounds a wee kind of meta thing, maybe. Good pop, Ardbeg. Let's get a clean glass. Is Ardbeg's 19-year-old Trevan gets poured into the glass. I think I was mentioning at the time, probably when I was off air, that I think Trevan is in fact a beach. Let's pop it over there. 46% ABV. No other information on the bottle other than that. Okay. Wonderful, actually. Very enticing on first approach. Let's put a wee coin over that just for a second. Okay, the question for a couple of samples of Laphroaig 16. Okay, there is a very, very long and straight road in Islay. I think it's one of the longest stretches of straight road in the UK. And it runs parallel to a beach. What do they call it? What do they call that road on Islay? I'll watch the chat to see who's going to pick up a couple of the Laphroaig 16 samples. Low road, windy road, M42, the Islay Boulevard. Close, Johnny. Close. Whiskey Jason, a dead end. Willie Dollier is in. Willie, well done for you. You've won yourself a sample, the Strand. I'm looking for somebody else. Who's going to follow Willie Dollier? The answer of the very long stretch that runs from pretty much just south of the airport, Port Ellen, all the way up to Bowmore. It's called the Strand. A long strand of tarmac. So we've got Willie Dollier. Whiskey Geek Ben said the Strand. So there we go. And Richard Hall. Okay, well done, guys. I think I've got addresses for most of you guys, so don't worry about your address. If you think I don't have your address, if I've never shipped anything to you, you can get in touch with me directly. But there you go. Well done. Typo as panicked. Don't worry, Ben, you're in. You got it. Let me know if you're interested in the Laphroaig 16 or if it's perhaps one that you're going to buy. I don't want to be seen as easy. I don't want to be the whiskey whore guy, right? But sometimes I am. And this Ardbeg is nosing fantastically well. It's nice and leathery. It's fruity. Wee bit of dunnage note in there. The maturity is clear. I think many on the nose, just at first approach, many would struggle to place it as an Ardbeg. But the Ardbeg DNA, the Ardbeg profile that we know nowadays is based on Corryvrecca and Ugadal, much younger product. Even the 10-year-old, which that 10-year-old, by the way, this deserves a bit of a moment, a bit of a shout out. This is Islay, like I say, this product that Islay has become. And it's always been available. They bottle it at 46%. They put on the label in big letters, non-chill filtered, which I think actually they put on this too. I said it wasn't. Yes, it says, it does say in very small text there, non-chill filtered. And if you've seen how pale Ardbeg 10 is, it's like Chardonnay pale, you would have to believe it's non-coloured as well. So I have to say the presentation is fantastic, and it's always £50 or less. Okay, it's only 10 years old. I understand it's expensive for a 10-year-old, but it's that Islay thing, right? Not bad. You don't have to be an Ardbeg fanboy to applaud when things are done well. This is available to everyone for that money. And that's good stuff. There are other products in that company stable that do seem to be getting better, but have not always followed the same presentation policies. Spiritworks Thomas saying, you missed me. Did I? Did you say the Strand before the other guys? I'll have a wee look, Tom. Don't worry, nobody will be cheated. No one will be cheated. Ardbeg 10, fantastic, Neil is saying. Did you call yourself a whiskey whore? I have to say I suffer from the affliction from time to time, yes. We'll have to PM you my home address, work address, now defunct. Sorry to hear, Ben, but absolutely please do that because the address I've got for you was your work address. Fantastic. Tom, I will go back and make sure I haven't missed you. Don't worry, my friend. Sorry to everyone for the dropout, and welcome back. Seems to be back up to healthy numbers again. Really desperate to go in and taste this because it's really enticing. Wow. That's a nice side of Ardbeg to be able to buy. Honestly, that's a nice dram. There's complexity here. You could spend a bit of time with it for sure. The arrival's lovely, develops with a bit of spice. There's pepper in the middle. The ABV is showing there. Maybe a wee bit higher than you might expect for its age. Finish is good. Not as clean as the other ones I've had tonight. A wee bit more mature. But I mean that in a positive way. Damn. I was hoping I could have a go at this whiskey. Give it a hard time. I'm going to summarise this by saying I would be shouting about this if it was £109, £119, £129 maybe at a push. That's the price point I think this should be at. Now, maybe because it's Islay, you can expect a bit of a premium, but it's up nudging on, what is it? It's £169, £170. And that's an eye-watering amount of money for a bottle of whiskey. Let's applaud Ardbeg for putting it out there with an age statement on there. But I have to say that I think Ardbeg have gone with a 19-year-old release. And it's nice that they're bringing it out as a batch product and it's going to be available annually. But they've realised that they're going to not only sell this, but there will be a clamour for this at £169. Ardbeg have built up a brand over a number of years and they deserve the ability to be able to do that. And I guess that the joining fee to enjoy 19-year-old Ardbeg is now £169. And right now, if you don't have the patience to wait in the States, I guess it looks like it could be costing you $300, which I hope doesn't tempt retailers to overprice it when it finally arrives. DH Silva's saying, stop bragging about how cheap you get it in the UK. There is Ardbeg DNA there as well. That nice kind of ashen, dry note. It seems like an Ardbeg 19-year-old seems like an old product, but we have to remember that by that time Ardbeg, the gears and machinery at Ardbeg had already started turning again, and they were back on their feet and they were producing whiskey. It's sometimes amazing how quickly the time goes by. But that's a nice product. I'm going to line these three up together. I was hoping that I could have a bit of a go. I was hoping that I could summarise and say, do you know what? Ardbeg 10 is where it's at. But of course, this is a completely different experience. Where the Ardbeg 10 brings lots of bright, fresh, briny, dry, ashen, full-on Islay peat in a very clean, balanced way for a good price. This is the maturity is there. It doesn't taste like an old whiskey. It tastes like a whiskey in its teens for sure. There's more fruit. The peat smoke, all the kind of hard edges of Ardbeg have been rounded off a wee bit. It's still a peaty whiskey, but it's nothing like as peaty as the first couple of whiskies I shared with you. For those of you that can't or don't or won't buy it, I'll share some samples. And I'm going to share 4 of these. So the first 4 people to tell me the visitor centre at Ardbeg is run by a lovely lady. If you can tell me her name, she appeared in an interview with the Scotch Test Dummies when we did our May tour. If you can tell me the name of the visitor centre manager at Ardbeg, it's the first thing that popped into my head. First 4 people Can have a wee dram of this Trevan, this Ardbeg. Pete Head is saying Jackie Thompson. Pete Head. I'm looking for the full name. Damn. Can I give it to you? Yeah, okay. It looks like everybody's just shouted Jackie, and I think it makes sense that you might not know. So there's also a dram going across to Whiskey Jason, fantastic Whiskey Jason. Congratulations to Petehead, Whiskey Jason, David Evans, and Whiskey Geek Ben is the fourth, sneaks in. So we've got Petehead, Whiskey Jason, David Evans, and Ben. So you got two tonight, Ben. How did that happen? Just the way it rolls. Just the way it rolls. And what I might do is I might be a wee bit generous and go back over these comments a wee bit later and pick out one or two folk to share this with. This channel is fully founded on the concept of it's not whiskey until it's shared, so I've got to put my money where my mouth is. But of course, especially given the support I get from you guys, if I can bottle up some of these and send them out to you and give you things that you may not have a chance to try, or maybe take you in a direction that you otherwise might not have gone in, then that's what it's all about, that kind of fellowship, sharing and sense of community. I love it. Have I covered everything that I want to cover tonight? Coins update. I'm going to keep that a secret. I'm going to keep it to myself. The coins are done. They are cast. And when I say coins, I'm talking about the batch 3 coins. But there's also a new Evangelist coin going out. All my patrons will receive their Black Smoke edition Evangelist coin. Before the end of the year, I hope that the vast majority, unless you're a completely new patron, will receive an Evangelist coin. And edition 2 of the Evangelist coin for patrons, these are not coins that you buy, these are given free. There's no charge for this. This is a thank you. These are gestures of thanks. There's the water edition that's coming too. So these are based on the elements that make Scotch whisky what it is. So we have smoke, and the new one is going to be themed water. It doesn't say water on it. It doesn't talk about water on the coin itself. You'll just see it's the imagery of the coin, or the feel and the colour scheme of the coin is supposed to impart water, as this one imparts perhaps smoke. But I hope you like the edition 3 coins. I've gone a wee bit experimental with it. It looks the same on one side as edition 1 and 2, but on the back side, on the B side, if you like, it's a little bit different. And I'm hoping to have those appearing this side of Christmas. I'm hoping that I might be able to collect those in October. I like them. They're nice, quite bold colouring. Okay, if you're ready, and if Vin is still hanging in with me, my friend, we are, I think, ready to start the quiz. There were a few names in earlier tonight. If you're still with us, the quiz is multiple choice. You get an A, B, and C option. So there's a very good chance that you can guess it. It's not for any prizes. It's just for fun, to try and beat yourself, much in the same way that you might play a game of golf. Dwayne is in. I never even spotted you before tonight, Dwayne. It's wonderful to see you there. And hi, Roy. I never have been hung up about age statements. Ultimately, it's all about the whiskey. I have tried many no age statement whiskies that I have enjoyed more than some age stated whiskies. You and I are a lover of Ardbeg's, Ugadal and Corrivraken for all their batch variants and changes over the years. In time, you get to understand that that's something that you need to get over and perhaps embrace. Dwayne, I do agree with you from time to time. But how nice would it be if it continued to be a non-age statement, but we could learn a wee bit more, that they could share a bit more about the whiskey that's in there. I think it would be nice. But thank you for your sentiment. I do agree with you, and I'll raise a glass and thank you, and thank you very much for your generous super chat, my friend Dwayne. Slanchova. I've promised you the Laphroaig 16 already on social media, Dwayne. I'm going to send you along a dram of the Trevan if you want to try it, let me know. But of course, I imagine you being an Ardbeg fan, you're fully going to track yourself down a bottle at some point. Okay, are we up for the quiz? Are we going to, can we get this quiz done in 30 minutes? Do you think so? Do you think we can keep it under 2 hours tonight? Let's wait and see. Let's see if we can do it. Am I still live? I'm nervous as hell. We're always fighting the technology, right? And I'm blurry. I can see that I'm a wee bit blurry. Okay, good. Apologise to everyone for some of the technical issues that I've had tonight. I still can't fathom it. Don't know why it's going on. You can share your displeasure in the comments underneath, and I will try and do better in the future if it is something that's happening at my side. It might be a data issue. I'm not really sure. But thank you for everyone for hanging out and sticking with me through it. Okay, let's try and switch over to this quiz screen. And we can get the wheels on this. I prefer that view for the quiz screen. Okay, good luck, everybody. So we jump into question 1 and ask, the stills at Loch Lomond are inspired by the stills from which distillery? So what other distillery inspired the still shape? The malt distillery shape at Loch Lomond. Was it A, Glen Scotia, B, Little Mill, or C, Cragganmore? Now, this was a specific still shape and design, fairly unique to this distillery, and I can tell you that when they were developing the stills, I think we're going back to the late 60s. They fully had no other intention but to duplicate this distillery's stills as much as possible. So you can see the reason for Loch Lomond existing was to bring more capacity whiskey of this style. Ooh, looks like B is the very, very popular answer here. Let's see. Whiskey Jason, Ben Marnock, David Evans, Glenn Boyd, looks like a new name, Glenn, wonderful to have you in. Tabitha Adams, Marcus Kreitner, Furbap, another new name, difficult to pronounce. Thanks for having a difficult to pronounce handle. Regardless, you're still very welcome in here. Mose Chun is in, Kevin Bryant, Willie Dollier, Malt Mariners, Whiskey Histories, loads and loads and loads of you all saying B. Let's have a wee look. Yes, Little Mill, of course. It's a brand still owned by Loch Lomond Group, as is Glen Scotia, but the one I was looking for was Little Mill tonight. I can't imagine too many of you went for the Cragganmore. I just stuck it in there to see. But yes, the malt stills at Loch Lomond were inspired by the shape of the stills at Little Mill. Question 2. Daft Mill, the name. Daft Mill gets its name from what? A, a downhill slope that appears uphill. B, a stream that appears to flow uphill. Or C, an uphill road that appears downhill. So that's the opposite of A. So it's a wee bit confusing. I'm not going to get rid of that screen, that display there. I'm going to try and keep it so that you can see it. Where does Daft Mill, there's something daft about Daft Mill and its naming, right? The farm is Daft Mill Farm. So I guess what we're asking there is not where the distillery gets its name, because that's clearly from the farm, but where does Daft Mill Farm get its name? Is it a downhill slope that looks like it's actually an uphill slope? So a kind of bizarre electric bray thing that we could talk about in Scotland. Is it a stream that appears to flow uphill rather than down? Or is it in fact an uphill road that should appear to flow downhill? And as the answers are coming in, I'm going to raise a glass to Matt McCain, always excited for new coins. Cheers. Matt, my friend, thank you so much for your virtual dram. I'll raise this glass of Ardbeg to you and say Slàinte. Ooh, all over the place the answer for this one, but lots of you are going for middle ground again and answering B, suggesting that it's named after a stream that appears to be flowing uphill. Let's have a wee look. Yes, it's nothing to do with hills. It is, in fact, a stream. And I guess the clue there was in the name, Daft Mill. It's a mill. So it would have been on a burn that's called the Daft Burn. And this burn, or a stream, Scottish name for a stream, appears at certain points to flow uphill. I've never seen it or witnessed it myself, but that is the story behind the name of Daft Mill. Found it interesting. I remember thinking a long time ago that I should include that in a quiz question, and it's never ever made it until now. It just popped back into my head recently. And No Nonsense Whiskey saying, what's that got to do with mills? Well, a water wheel often turns a mill. Not everywhere. Some people use wind, I guess. Windmills, but it's to do with water wheel, I would guess. Don't ask me, ask Francis. Okay, question 3. The Whisky Exchange will release 4 commemorative London Whisky Show 2019 releases. With what? What is going to be specific about these 4 commemorative releases for the London Whisky Show coming up at the weekend, this very weekend? Is it A, 3D images on the labels? B, etched glass labelling? Or C, labels only visible with UV light? What will we see at the Whisky Show 2019 if you go there and see what has been... George Braley is talking about Francis, saying I visited that yesterday and Francis was a perfect host. I think you were a good host as well because you took James and Kieran along there as well, George. I was really impressed to hear that. Wonderful to hear about this fantastic community and hospitality and welcoming thing that's going on, people getting together, doing these tours together, having a kind of one guy responsible for the organisation and things. Fantastic. Yes. Peter Eichen is in. Great to see you, Peter. He's admitting that he's got to go off to work and he's going to catch the rest on replay, and he's leaving me a wee dram as he leaves. Peter, you star. Thank you so much, my friend. Slanjava. So let's see. 3D images and labels, etched glass, or UV light. Oh, this is all over the place, this one. Yes, absolutely. This could be a banana skin for a lot of you. Glenn Boyd is even admitting that A is a total guess. Well, I can tell you that the Whisky Show in London will reveal 4 expressions only visible with UV light. I had a look to see what the expressions were. I don't remember what they all were now, but I have a look at the Kalila. It's a 9-year-old Kalila. It's presented well, but have a look at the price. Given the subject and themes that we've been talking about tonight, and try and remember this. You know, it's fantastic that they do these special editions, and it's fantastic that they have these innovative, some would say gimmicky labels and things like that. But always pay a wee bit of attention to the pricing as well. I think Peter Eichen has mistakenly given me an additional. I've had 2 super chats in from you, Peter. Perhaps that was a mistake. Please let me know. Whiskey Novice is saying, oh no, he's talking to someone else. So let's see how many of you have got that right. How many of you are interested in a label that you can only see with a UV light? I believe that they're including special little UV torches. So I think what's triggered this is an agency, a marketing agency, that's looked at a special product that they can buy. It's a torch, it's a UV blue light torch, and they've decided, oh, if we bought that, that's really quite cheap now. Look, this is inexpensive. So let's do a blue light label, a black light label. I think that's how that's come up. But they might have found a nice, fun, innovative way to apply it, right? There might be some deeper information behind the blue light. Let's imagine that these labels could have blue light geek information printed on them for the stuff that we want to know that the mass market doesn't really care about. Let's jump in to question 4. and ask you all, which distiller declares handcrafted in the Sonoran Desert? I apologise to anybody that lives close by if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but which distiller declares handcrafted in the Sonoran Desert? Is it A, Delbach, B, Stranahan's, or C, Seven Troughs? George is saying marketing again, merchandise, haha. Listen, we can slag off marketing, we can give it a hard time, but the fact remains that we are all fully affected by it. Believe me, it's what I do for a living, and I even given that, I am still very much affected by it. Okay, let's see. Tabitha Adams says B, David Evans says C, Whiskey Jason says A. So there we go. Spread over everything in the very first three. So something is handcrafted in Sonoran Desert, and it says it on the label. Again, wow, this could be a tough question. To be honest, it's not a very well-known product. None of the things on this list are. I understand it's a bit obscure, but I'm trying to cover some world whiskies and things out there as well, and this is obviously I'm aiming at American whiskey here. But I can tell you that the label that says handcrafted in the Sonoran Desert is actually A, Delbach. Zach Andrews is saying it's Sonoran Desert. Sonoran Desert? I hope I'm getting that better, Zach. I hope that's a bit closer, but thank you. Hope you got it right, Zach. So the halfway point is the picture question. I put an image up there, and I'll leave the image up there a wee bit longer so you can see what it is. And after that, at the halfway point, we can ask everybody how they're getting on. But see if you can tell me what distillery we're looking at this time. Here we go. Now this is a distillery that's looking a wee bit tired. It's in quite poor repair. So I'll ask you, is it one of these closed distilleries? A, Dallas Dew, B, Parkmore, or C, Brora? A, Dallas Dew, B, Parkmore, or C, Brora? Now I left that and I was dwelling because I was fairly suspicious that one or two of you would have just jumped in straight away and told me what it was before you saw the ABC options up there. But maybe you didn't want to lead the crowd. Simon Ray's the first to answer with C. DJ11 said C. David Evans thinks A. Ben Marnock is saying A. Greg's Whiskey Guide is saying C. Lots of people are saying C with some A's in there. Not many people think it's Parkmore. Parkmore is a Duffton distillery, very close to Dustin. You see it from the train tracks, but long closed. Brora is long closed, but currently being revived. And Dallas Dew is actually an operating museum now. I can tell you that the distillery that we're looking at here is, in fact, for many people, a beloved distillery, Brora. I'll just go back up and let you see it there. It does look a sad wee sight. Peter Eichen is saying he had a problem with the super chat problem on iPhone. Okay, Peter, no problem to return anything. Just let me know. Whiskey Geek is saying, I intentionally didn't jump in with the answer to avoid annoying you. Pagoda roof is currently green. Fantastic. Okay, where are we at the halfway point, Barflies? How are we getting on? We are, no, this whiskey's in 2 out of 5. It's a bit tough tonight. There's some bizarre random questions in there. I appreciate it. And it's not going to be any different for the second half, I have to say, for the back 5. Whiskey Jason is saying 3. Tabitha Adams 2. Zach Andrews 2. Moistrin 3. Wow, who's on the... We're looking for some higher scores. This is a tough quiz tonight. If you guys are scoring at that level, it must be a wee bit tough. Marcus 4. Good score, Marcus. Whiskey History is excellent, 4. Jens Roger Christofferson, good to see you, Jens, 4. Any other? Wow, Chris Banks Wildlife is on 5. 5 out of 5, Chris. Superb, well done. 5 out of 5, good effort. Jason Coates. The canny calm, cool, steady Jason Coates. 5 out of 5, no problem. Daniel Vermaas as well, 5. Fantastic, Daniel. Sid Martin, 5. Maybe it's not that difficult. But you're a knowledgeable crowd. I forget sometimes. Sid Martin, 5. Well done. Okay, Neil Cochran, 5 out of 5. Tremendous. Okay, let's go on for in golf in terms of the back 5. See how we got on. This is question 6. Aldehide Lindsay is named after what? So this is the whiskey that I've been talking about tonight, Aldehide Lindsay. But I want to know what it was named after. Was Aldehide Lindsay named after a rock outcrop seen from Islay? A. B. Was it an engineer and Islay resident? Or C. Nothing. It's actually an anagram. What is Aldehide Lindsay named after? I think it's about time one of the patrons put together a quiz. What do you think? One of our 10 out of 10 winners should be able to help put together a quiz. And it might be possible to put it together in a way that I can actually participate. I can actually answer the questions. I have to be honest and say the one I'm reaching for right now is this Ardbeg. That's a mistake. I should be sipping the others too. Again, a bit of a split on this one. For the people who have engaged with it, the people who have looked it up or searched anything on it at all, they would have discovered this already. But I can tell you right now that Aldehide Lindsay is in fact an anagram for a 10-year Islay. It's an anagram. Aldehide Lindsay is an anagram. So there we go. It's nothing to do with rocky outcrops or people, residents. As I mentioned to you earlier, the whole branding of this Aldehide Lindsay is a kind of tongue-in-cheek bit of fun. So they've managed to come up with this anagram, and that's what they named it. Kind of rolls off the tongue quite nice. I quite like it, Aldehide Lindsay. And Spirit Works Tom is saying he's intrigued by this whiskey as we share the same surname. It's a great reason to have it, Tom. You can pretend to your friends that it's your own bottling. Question 7. Which of these distilleries does not bottle on site? I like production questions from time to time. It's nice to pop them in there. So I'm just asking you a question. Which of these distilleries does not bottle on site? Kilchoman, Bruichladdich, Bunnahabhain. 3 Islay distilleries. One of them doesn't have a bottling hall, whereas the other 2 do. I'm not suggesting that everything they ever produce gets bottled on site, although it may be the case. But what I'm saying is that they have the capability, and they certainly do bottle on site. So I'm asking which one doesn't. Kilchoman, Bruichladdich, or Bunnahabhain? Most of you have bagged this. Most of you know that Distell, Bunnahabhain have central operations. I believe it to be in East Kilbride, and I think that's where Bunnahabhain is bottled. There's a guy that's often in. I haven't spotted him tonight, Ben Marnock. I think he's in, actually. He may be in. If Ben's in, he'll probably be able to have more information on that, where that is actually bottled. But Kilchoman and Bruichladdich both have bottling on site, whereas Bunnahabhain don't. So if you get answered C, give yourself a point. Let's move into question 8, which is, which hills famously, now I'll say famously, but what I'm really saying is it said, and legend says, which hills famously allowed passage of whiskey smugglers from the Highlands to the Lowlands? So we're going back to a time when, that we had the Highland line, the taxation was different, everything was different, and what was legal, what was illegal. But the Glenlivet whiskey, what was known as Highland whiskey at that time, was the whiskey that was in demand for its purer style and higher quality. And smugglers would bring it down into the Lowlands. And one of the high, busy traffic routes to stay away from prying eyes was this passage. So can you tell me, was it A, the stepped hills, B, the Staircase Hills, or C, the Ladder Hills? Ben Marnock is answering the Distell and East Kilbride correct. Thanks, Ben. You're a star. So there you go. Who knows? A, the Stepped Hills, B, the Staircase Hills, or C, the Ladder Hills? Random, but I think it's kind of fun, and I like reading about Scotch whisky history and how the stupidity of legislation has formed the product that we have today, how the bizarre decisions that have been made over time, best intentions, I'm sure, but like I said earlier in the stream, it always inevitably comes down to money, the merest measure of a man's time, money. But how did they get it into the lowlands? How did they get it to the rest of the world? I can tell you that the hills that we're looking for are the legendary and infamous Ladder Hills, which I understand are just a wee bit south of Glenlivet. And I guess the biggest peak there would be Carn Moor. And there's a whisky producer or a bottler, as you know, named Carn Moor, which I think means Big Hill, actually, which would make sense. So there we go. Question 8 was C. If you answered C, give yourself a point as we go on to question 9. Which of these countries consumes the most blended Scotch? The key here is I'm talking about blended Scotch. Which of these countries consumes the most? Is it A, India, B, France, or C, Russia? There's a country in the world that seems to enjoy Scotch whisky in a blended form a lot. Is that A, India, B, France, or C, Russia? Let's jump into the crowd. Greg's Whiskey Guide is saying ha. Lawrence's Whiskey is saying France. Nick Keane is saying B. Lindsay Holman is saying A. Steve Triquetra is saying, what does Distell do in their place in Airdrie? Just passed by it today and noticed their signage. Not entirely sure, Stuart. Not sure. Whiskey History is A. Lots of people saying A. India, obviously a huge, huge whiskey market. Probably one of the world's biggest. Russia's getting bigger all the time. French like their whiskey too. In fact, I can tell you that the country that consumes the most blended Scotch is by far, by a ridiculous number, double the number 2 spot, which is the USA, is the French. It's France. They drink twice as much as any other country. India is huge, but that market is provided heavily by a different style of whiskey, Indian whiskey, that couldn't really be labelled whiskey in the EU. It's made in a different way. It's mass-produced, made from molasses often. So it's good to have you in, Greg. I was looking for you when I asked that question. I spotted you in when you were talking about your score a wee bit earlier, just before that comment. So yes, thanks to France, they buy a ton of our blended Scotch whisky. Quite amazing. And for the final question tonight, let's see, is anybody still holding it together before I ask you this 10th question? Is anyone, Mo's trying to say 6 out of 9, dang banana skin. Mo's, you're home and free, you've got a pass mark already, nothing to worry about, as is No Nonsense Whiskey, no problem. Whiskey History 7, James McGoran 7, Zach and Bogdan are both on a pass mark already. Gixer Skipper 7 out of 9, great score. Potentially if it's your first time as well, fantastic. Michael Johnson is saying 7, good to have you, Michael. Fubap is saying 7. Tabitha Adams is saying yes, 5 out of 9 because she's got a pass mark. Jimmy Jazz Blair is saying 5. Whiskey Jason 5. Per Christensen 5. Okay, I think this was a tough quiz tonight. Is there anyone on higher than that? Somebody's Mark Slinger, you star, 8 out of 9. Great score. Great score. And Nick Keane is admitting that he's fighting for a pass. I'm not sure this is going to help you, Nick. Apologise. Bit of a random question 10. I hope you enjoy it anyway. Here we go. Billy Walker, head distiller at the Glenallachie, trained as a what? What did Billy Walker train as originally? A, a blacksmith. B, an organic chemist. C, a musician. I can read it, but I can't see it. A, a blacksmith. B, an organic chemist. Or C, a musician. What did Billy Walker train as? Billy Walker, of course, is now heading up Glenallachie, but he's got quite a history and legacy, and he's celebrated as being a bit of a wizard in the whisky industry after what he did at Glendronach, Glenglassaw, and Benriach, had his hand in projects there, did a fantastic job, and he seems to be doing great things with the Glenallachie as well, and I wish him all the best. Donner Pass whiskey, that's fine. Totally guessing B. Jimmy Legacy, I want to say C, but B is cooler. DH Silva saying B sounds good, but I want it to be music. Vin is saying, No Nonsense Whiskey is saying, sometimes I guess so hard that I forget what I guessed by the reveal. I know exactly what you're talking about, Vin. So I can tell you that Billy Walker was once, or he trained as, B, an organic chemist. So if you answered B, give yourself a point now. Of course, at this point, I should probably have done some research and worked out what an organic chemist actually does. But I think it'd be better if you go and visit the brand new open visitor distillery at Glenallachie, and maybe you just pass him in the courtyard or something, or in the shop, and you can ask Billy himself, what exactly is an organic chemist and what does it do? James McGoran, 8 out of 10. Wow, great score. Let's see the final scores. Whiskey Jason, 6 out of 10. Hard one for you tonight, Whiskey. Bit random questions, I appreciate. They were a bit tricky and underhanded at times, perhaps. James McGoran, though, 8 out of 10. Tremendous, James. Well done. 6 out of 10 for Greg's Whiskey Guide. Jimmy Jazz, 6 out of 10. Michael Johnson, 8 out of 10. Steve A. Woot, 10. Steve, did you get 10 out of 10? You star. Finest moment of my life, 10 out of 10. Neil, you've had 10 out of 10 before, have you not? You're like a whiskey encyclopedia becoming. Fantastic, Neil. Fantastic. Steve as well, if I'm reading you that you're both on 10. Wonderful stuff. Foob up, 8 out of 10. Sid Martin, 7 out of 10. Tabitha Adams, 5. Spiritworks Tom, 8. George Braley, 6. Arnie on 3. He's admitting that he only got 3, and he knows he's only playing against himself. So the next quiz, the next vPub, he only needs to get 3 or better. While we're talking about the next vPub, it might be tricky to schedule because I'm in Texas on the Thursday that it would normally be running. Now, I could theoretically run the vPub from Texas, but I think that'll be tricky with the time difference and with the amount of coming and going, everything that's happening. So I don't know if I can commit to that. I may choose to bring it forward by a day or so, or try and push it out to the week after, because that would then give me an opportunity to share with you some of the shenanigans that went on in Texas. I'm really looking forward to that because I get to see so many of you guys. But I'm also looking forward to seeing so many of the other YouTube channels and things like that as well, and just getting to hang out in that wonderful environment that is the campus where the Whiskey Vault is located, and just have it teeming with whiskey folk. Really, really looking forward to that. It'd be tremendous. So you just need to bear with me, look at the notifications. Remember, and I know that everybody's done this, but click that little bell if you want a notification to know when I release an announcement of a live stream. There will be a Patreon-only live stream in the coming week or so as well. So have an eye out for that, all my patrons out there. And yes, and I'll catch up with you guys there and let you see some behind-the-scenes stuff too. But other than that, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight, and thank you for indulging me despite the horrendous technical difficulties that, again, I just can't pinpoint. I'm not actually sure why it happened. In summary of the theme tonight, I would say that, yes, age statements seem to be coming back, but only when it comes with a hefty price. But there are still whiskey engagement and enjoyable drams out there that we can find and share as a community and say, do you know what? That may be what it is, but it's a decent whiskey. Jay Chung, you star, I'm hoping to meet you. He's saying, I've been listening to most of the vPub while at work. Thanks for another great one, Roy. Sent you an email. Hope to meet up with you soon. I'll look out for your email, Jay, and we'll work out how we're going to hook up over the coming days. It would be fantastic to welcome you while you're here. So yes. The prices are going up, but there are signs that some things are softening there. But that's a subject for a future vPub. He's saying, going to sit back a bit. It's also only fair to point out that so far Bimber have only been using genuine sherry casks that have been used in Solera as opposed to industry seasoned casks. And on that note, that very valid note, Tom, I'll raise a glass of the 16-year-old Laphroaig. I'm going to enjoy exploring this. I'm going to send my sample out to you guys as well. Thanks everybody for joining tonight, Whiskey Folk. And until the next vPub, hopefully with a bit less technical difficulty, Slán Siva. Thank you.